What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We're back talking about some more team selections for round 3 of the Rugby World Cup. This one is going to be for Ireland. We've already done South Africa. South Africa is on the channel. I wanted to try and get as many teams out before round 1 kicked off, and because South Africa announced it so early, we did that one as a separate one. So Ireland is going to be a separate one. Treat that one like a bit of a part 1, I guess, to the preview video. This one will be a bit more like part 2. We're only going to be checking out the Ireland team today, who've got a big task ahead of them. This one for me is the game of the round in terms of how excited I am to see a really solid game of rugby. I've been interested to see some other people's thoughts and comments. People are sort of like, it's going to be one score either way, or one team could end up just dominating this game. This could be the best game of the World Cup, even beyond the pool stages, going all the way through to the final. This one might still live in the memories. So Ireland going into this one feeling pretty confident. They're on 2 wins from 2. The most recent one win against Tonga, 59 points to 16, 8 tries in that game. Bundee Aki's scoring tries for fun. He's having a good old time. But going in against this South African team, also on 2 wins from 2. My God, what a big game this one is going to be. Starting out in the front row then, Andrew Porter, Ronan Kelleher and Tadhg Furlong. Now, scrummaging is going to be one of the big contestable areas in this game. As we went over in that South Africa team, they've got 7 forwards on the bench. South Africa clearly want to take charge of the set piece area. Ireland actually use the set piece a lot in terms of how they like to play their attack. We've seen so many tries come off the back of a scrum, a maul or a line out where they're going through the set piece and then they're playing it out wide. They play that wraparound sort of looping pass, or they just offload it to Bundee Aki to kill everyone in front of him. So the set piece is going to be really, really important in this one. With the 7 forwards on the bench, you would sort of assume that that South Africa probably have the better advantage in terms of longevity in the scrum. But the Irish scrum is also a relatively safe platform, something they really enjoy as well. Now, big news: Dan Sheehan is back in the team. He's got over his injuries. He's back in now. A lot of people might be thinking Dan Sheehan should get straight in to that starting row. He is starting on the bench in this game. I think this is the right move, even though I would probably rate Dan Sheehan as the best hooker in Ireland at the minute. The lack of game time, we didn't see him across the World Cup warm-ups or these first couple of rounds, not had a great deal of minutes on the pitch. I think Ronan Kelleher is probably a safer option to begin with, just to make sure Dan Sheehan's going to be warmed up, ready to get into that match. And as we've seen him in the Six Nations before, sometimes when he comes on, he's got a great burst of speed on him against a bit more of a tired, South Africa team as that game wears on. It might be an area that Dan Sheehan can really exploit later on into the game. So I think this is actually a better starting row for Ireland. In the lock department, Tyburn and James Ryan. This is the lock department we're so comfortable with. Now, Tyburn's been playing really well. Actually, over the last 2 games, he's been getting himself on the try scoring sheet. He's actually got more tries than people like James Lowe and Mac Hansen. So, not what you expect necessarily from a lock, but he's been playing extremely well, involved with that breakdown as always, getting those jackal penalties, the breakdown, another big contestable area in this game. Both teams are going to want to front up in terms of physicality, I imagine, and getting those big turnovers will really destroy the other team's attack. And then in the back row, who else is it going to be? Peter O'Mahony, Van der Fleer and Caelan Doris in that number 8 shirt. Now, this is a big back row. This is the back row we expected most likely going in for this Ireland team. I think all 3 of them have played in every game. I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. I know Josh Van der Fleer started on the bench for one of the games as well, but they've been utilising these players in different ways. Caelan Doris across the warm-ups as well has been swapping his different positions. He's comfortable in 6, 7 and 8, so any injuries he's happy to slide in where you need him to, but I can imagine some big ball carrying in this game, even though I do think the way Ireland should be approaching this game is to look wider and look more expansive because of how many forwards the South African team have gone for. I imagine a lot of these lads want to get involved with a physical game. They'll want to try and dominate the physical battle as they do. I don't always think it's the right way to play against South Africa, but we'll see how they get on. In the halfback partnership, Jamison Gibson-Park goes in alongside Johnny Sexton. I think this is probably what we were expecting. Right? I think I would rate Jamison Gibson-Park above Conor Murray at the minute. I think he's an all-round solid scrum half to just keep Ireland going on that front foot. Box kicking will be the one area that we probably look at in this game. I rate Jameson Gibson Park quite highly in terms of his box kicking, but more recently I feel like they've been slightly miscalculated or kicked a little bit too far, maybe getting a skew hit in this one. I think kicking will be a big option in this game for Ireland. They'll want to keep the ball moving. They'll want to keep it in live play as well. With how many forwards that South Africa have got on the bench, you want this ball to stay in. You want their forwards getting tired quicker so they don't really have that advantage. Kicking the ball dead, kicking it out, letting everyone reset, get a set piece going is probably not the right way to go about this. So kicking options from both Johnny Sexton and Jameson Gibson Park will be extremely important in this game. In the centre partnership, Bundee Aki and Gary Ringrose. Bundee Aki, as I sort of mentioned in that intro, my God, he's just crushing it, right? He is on for being the top try scorer for this Ireland team across the tournament because he's absolutely flying at the minute. One area that is interesting to me about this Ireland team, I was listening to the commentary team when we watched that Tonga game. Bundee Aki was involved with everything, and they were sort of talking about the one thing that goes so well for Ireland in terms of their backs is how many options they have on the attack, and they love running that little loop pass. I'm kind of surprised more teams don't just ignore the front runners and just go for the back, because Ireland love doing the full loop and going all the way around the back. But the options they have in terms of offloading, there's always someone running with the ball, a player either side. Which way are they going to pass? Who do you mark up? It's been interesting in the first two rounds that for some reason I feel like Bundee Aki isn't marked as much as Gary Ringrose, even though I don't know the exact stats. I would say 80% of the option choice ends up being Bundee Aki. Of course, Gary Ringrose, once he gets past you, he's a bit of a nightmare to stop because you're very, very fast centre and he looks for those really nice lines to hit. But I don't think teams are appreciating just how much Bundee Aki is part of the Ireland defence. And I feel like if you rush off the line quickly, and South Africa have got some solid centres in, Jesse Creel and Damien Dialende to rush off their line, I think if you catch Bundee Aki out and you get right up to him very quickly, I feel like you might neutralise a lot more of that Ireland attack than maybe other teams have been giving them credit for. I think the ball goes through Bundee Aki's hands more than most people in this back line in terms of them trying to get put on that front foot, break through those tackles, make that extra couple of metres after contact. He's a really, really vital weapon for this Ireland team, and hence why he's got so many tries, because he's been used so well. I think he's probably one of the target men to hit, not because he's a weak link, because he's probably one of the strongest links. I think if you take him out of the game and make Ireland readjust, that might be something South Africa need to look at for this game. And then finally, in the back three, James Lowe on the left wing, Mac Hansen on the right wing, and Hugo Keenan in that fullback position. He's also scoring some tries as well. Hugo Keenan, not necessarily the one I would pick out to be scoring tries. I think he's up there for one of the best fullbacks in the world, to be honest. I really enjoyed the way he plays. Such a team-orientated fullback. He's solid in his performance in that backfield. He's got a great kicking boot on him. But getting involved in the rucks, running up and helping out the rest of the team, I think has been really solid for him for a couple of years now. I really, really rate him as a good fullback. And again, those kicking options, as I mentioned a bit earlier on, James Lowe with the left foot, Hugo Keenan's got a good boot on him, Mac Hansen's got a good boot on him as well. I can see Ireland wanting to get involved in this kicking game for a good length of time. Picking your kicks is going to be important though as well, right? You don't just want to kick the ball. You've got to kick the ball. You've got to find grass. If you're going to kick the ball high, you want to have a solid chaser to get involved with the aerial battle. Ireland have some solid players in the air, as do South Africa, but I would probably rate the South African wingers to be the ones that get more under the high ball, but maybe going for the up and under and keeping it more infield rather than pinning them out on the wing. Maybe you could get some good aerial competition on the go there. So in terms of an Ireland team, it's about as big as it gets, right? I don't really think there would be any change there to make it bigger. Maybe if Dan Sheehan had a number of good minutes, he was fit, healthy and ready to go, maybe you would start Sheehan over Kelleher. But to be honest, the team as it stands now, this is probably as big as the Ireland team gets. I imagine they're going to come into this game treating it like their World Cup final, right? This is a massive, massive fixture. Whoever wins this, for me, probably goes on to top the pool in Pool B, and will probably most likely be going on to play New Zealand. So that's a tough quarter-final, to be fair. Maybe you want to come second. Maybe you want to play France. I don't know how teams want to work this, but going to be a massive, massive game. In terms of the substitute, then, we've already mentioned him. Dan Sheehan will be the replacement hooker in this one. Dave Kilcoyne and Finlay Bealham will be your replacement front rows. Ian Henderson and Ryan Baird will be your replacement forwards. And then the replacement backs, Conor Murray, Jack Crowley, and Robbie Henshaw. So the 5-3, we can't get any more different. We've gone 5-3 versus 7-1 on the bench. This one is going to be a massive task for both sides. In terms of the game areas where I see this one being narrowed down to, I think set piece will be a massive, massive contestable area, as will be the breakdown. If you're an Ireland supporter, you want to be seeing Ireland kick. You want to be seeing them take the 3 points, maybe drop goals, because we've seen them throughout the World Cup as well now. Maybe get a couple of drop goals in just to put South Africa on that back foot a little bit, put the scoreboard pressure on them, keep the ball live, keep it moving around, keep your players having the ball in their hand and doing some very, very clever kicks, finding room in that backfield. If the game begins to break down into it's just a forward battle competing against other teams, even though the Ireland team has a really solid set of forwards, just having that 7-1 on the bench means South Africa will do it all day long. So in terms of a score prediction, what do we think? What do we think for this one? Make sure you drop your score predictions down in the comment sections, because I can see this going either way. I feel like if you're an Ireland supporter, you're saying this is Ireland all day long. If you're a South Africa supporter, you're saying South Africa all day long. If you're a neutral like me, you're sat in the middle, you're going, I really don't know. I see this being one score either way. I don't even think it'll be a low-scoring game. I've actually got a feeling this might be a high-scoring game, with both teams maybe nearing that 30-point marker and just both teams absolutely trying to hammer each other. But I think it will end tight. South Africa, in terms of the kicking duty, they've been testing a lot. Their kicking percentage has not been where they want to be. Johnny Sexton for Ireland, a solid all-round kicker for them. And maybe they'll rely on him a bit more rather than looking for those tries. Just keep taking those points as and when. Ireland won the last fixture between these two, 19 points to 16. That was over in Dublin. That home advantage, always a bit of a boost to Ireland. What do we say for this game? Unfortunately, this one could go either way for me. I'm leaning slightly towards South Africa based on their choice of that bench and going through the forwards. I think if this game comes down to a forward-based set-piece breakdown, big tackle areas, and you just go for the muscly game, I see it going South Africa's way. If the game becomes more expansive and opens up and goes out to the wingers, a lot more kicking, a lot more aerial battles, going for those 3 points towards the post, I see Ireland winning. So it's going to be an on-the-day thing. I'll lean slightly towards South Africa because I can see Ireland wanting to get involved in the physical battle. I'm going to say South Africa to win by 2. That's going to be my prediction, guys. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this team and the South Africa team down in the comments as well. Like I said, if you haven't seen that video already, go and check that one out. This is the game I'm most excited for. I can genuinely see it going either way. But I hope you've all enjoyed this one today, guys. Of course, I will be doing a review on this game. I don't care which way it goes. I don't care who wins. I really hope it's a great game of rugby. There will be a review coming out on the channel after that game. Last game on Saturday. Very, very exciting. I hope you've all enjoyed this one today, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.